Top 6 actors Jack Elam despised the most. Jack Elam was born William Scott Jack Elam on November 13, 1918 in Miami, Arizona. Having grown up in an era that saw America endure both the financial struggles of the Great Depression and the cultural upheavals of the 1920s and 1930s, Elam's childhood was characterized by toughness and a will to prevail. Early in life, he experienced a life-altering accident when he lost the vision in his left eye from battling with another young boy during grade school. The accident, though tragic, would eventually become one of his most distinctive aspects, providing him with a signature squint that made him immediately recognizable on screen. His lazy eye, which was sometimes so described, was not something that he attempted to conceal, but instead accepted, and eventually became part of his Hollywood persona. Prior to working in the entertainment arena, Jack Elam led a diversified life that reflected his versatility and ethic of work. He also learned accounting at Santa Monica Junior College, and upon graduation, he worked as an auditor and bookkeeper for a range of companies. Indeed, Elam was a successful accountant with many years of experience prior to ever appearing in front of a camera, working with big businesses and even with film companies, which provided him with his initial taste of Hollywood existence. It was only in the late 1940s and early 1950s, when he was in his 30s, that he seriously attempted to be an actor. His striking appearance, rugged hewn physique, and unmistakable eye condition set him apart, and casting directors were quick to realize that Elam might be the ideal villain for the gritty westerns and crime dramas of the time. Elam's own career really took off during the 1950s when he became TYP cast, but in the best possible way, as one of Hollywood's most iconic bad men. He frequently portrayed gunfighters, henchmen, and dirty outlaws whose menacing presence could immediately establish the tone of a scene. Some of his earliest and finest films were Rahe, 1951, and High Noon, 1952, two Western classics in which he made himself a go-to supporting actor. His craggy face, squinting eye, and growly voice created a distinctive presence that audiences could not forget. He was the quintessential Western heavy, the type of outlaw who did not require introduction for many years. His very presence on the screen was sufficient warning to audiences that they were in for trouble. But Jack Elam was a villain beyond villains. In the 1960s and 1970s, he started moving towards serious comedy, proving to Hollywood that he could do much more than play outlaws and murderers. His timing, his facial expressions, and his propensity to laugh at his own menacing persona made him a born comedian. His best-known appearances were in Mel Brooks' 1974 satirical Western Blazing Saddles, in which he had a classic cameo in the film's climactic battle scene, and in lighter films such as Support Your Local Sheriff, 1969, and Support Your Local Gunfighter, 1971, in which his humor was as bright as his menace had ever been. He was an example that even tough actor men could change and excel in different genres. TV also made a significant contribution to the career of Elam. He took part in numerous Western television programs such as Gunsmoke, Bonanza, Cheyenne, and Have Gun Will Travel. Afterwards, he starred with the hit series Alias Smith and Jones and introduced his own presence to the Dakotas and Temple Houston. During the 1980s, younger viewers became familiar with him in the sitcom Easy Street, where he co-starred with Lonnie Anderson and Julie Harris. His shift from menacing bad guy to lovable old coot made him a multi-generational favorite. Off camera, Jack Elam was a warm, witty, and down-to-earth fellow, far different from many of his on-screen villains. Friends and co-stars have remembered his sense of humor, generosity, and enthusiasm for telling tales of Hollywood's golden age. He was a consummate professional with a penchant for illuminating a set with both his performances and himself. Throughout his lengthy career, Jack Elam acted in over 200 films and television series, leaving behind a legacy that few character actors could boast. His talent to entertain, whether frightening them as a gunslinger or entertaining them through his comedic timing, solidified his position among the most versatile and endearing actors of his time. Jack Elam's private life was characterized by two meaningful marriages that not only structured his personal life, but also gave him stability in his otherwise tumultuous Hollywood career. His first was to Jean Louise Hadjard, a union dating back to 1937, many years before Elam became famous as one of the most recognizable character actors of Hollywood. Elam was then a young man attempting to establish himself in the world, and his marriage to Jean provided him with a sense of stability and direction. The pair were married for almost a quarter of a century, weathering the peaks and troughs of life together, such as the lean times, until Elam's own acting career began to take off in the late 1940s and early 1950s. They were married for 24 years, a feat uncommon in Hollywood society where so many marriages break under the strain of fame and working endlessly. Sadly, their time was short-lived when Jean passed away from colon cancer on January 24, 1961. Her passing was a devastating blow to Elam, who had leaned on her for strength during his formative years and early career struggles. Jean's death left a void in his personal life, one that Elam would carry with him forever, even as he eventually moved forward. Despite his grief, Elam did not remain alone for long. Only 7 months after Jean's passing in August of 1961, he was remarried, this time to Margaret M. Jennison. The quickness of his remarriage may have given some pause, but for Elam, who had spent the majority of his adult life in the comfort of a stable relationship, companionship was an essential aspect of his being. Margaret gave him renewed emotional balance and served as a supportive mate in the peak of his acting years. In the early 1960s, Elam was in demand, working in a plethora of films and television programs, frequently playing the flamboyant villains, alcoholics, and quirky characters for which he was so endearing to viewers. Margaret was present throughout it all, handling the difficulties that went with being married to a man whose job involved perpetual traveling and extended hours on the set. In contrast to the 2-year flings so common in Hollywood, Jack and Margaret's union persevered not only through the more sensationalized moments of his career, but also through the less sensational times when he worked less often. Their union would endure for a remarkable 42 years, a testament to their connection and the solid foundation they established together. Throughout, the two had constructed a private, comfortable life in the shadows away from the public eye, especially after their older age when Elam paced himself in his work and opted to spend more time at home. Their long-term relationship was not only a testament to their love for each other, but to Jack's strong need for stability following a career of perpetual change. The companionship and affection they shared was a far cry from the solo performances he had given on screen and a reflection of the distinction between Jack Elam, the actor, and Jack Elam, the human being. Unfortunately, their marriage was cut short, not by divorce or separation, but by Jack's death. On the 20th of October, 2003, after over 4 decades of togetherness, Elam passed away at their residence in Ashland, Oregon, from congestive heart failure at the age of 82. His passing sealed the end of an extraordinary life and career, yet it also ended one of the longest-running chapters of his own personal history, that of his marriage to Margaret. She had stood by his side through decades of labor, victories, and defeats, and through them, they had created a life encapsulated in love, loyalty, and perseverance. Ultimately, Jack Elam's 2 marriages reveal a story not just of loss and rebirth, but of the enduring significance of companionship in his life, a theme as moving as any character he ever portrayed on screen. Jack Elam, the iconic Western character actor with the unmistakable lazy eye, glowering stares, and surprisingly adept comedic sense,